Welcome to the Sometimes Waiter Show. I'm your host, Resego LT Tabane, and what now, South Africa? 2018 has been a banger of a year so far for South Africans. We started the year with a brand new President Cyril Ramaphosa. For the 106th birthday of the ANC, Cyril Ramaphosa is said to have delivered his speech immaculately. Then again, the bar wasn't really set all that high. It's like the stereosis patient coming up to you and saying, Yazi, Lepoloni, it's not so bad. Nandi country. This message sponsored by Enterprise. Tastes so good you'll die. Cyril's popularity seems to be up, having started with headlines like Ramaphosa sports funky socks on beachfront stroll. Cyril Ramaphosa's walk on the beachfront. Hashtag Cyril socks. South Africans are losing it over Ramaphosa's running gear. The bar for likability in this office was just so low that the media just didn't know what to do with themselves now that they had Cyril. Jovial Ramaphosa tees off at East London. Now this particular headline I find funny because the only time the word jovial was used to describe our last president, President Jacob Zuma, former President Jacob Zuma, ex-President Jacob Zuma, axed President Jacob Zuma. The only time the word jovial was used to describe him was in these headlines. Jovial Zuma tees off on golf course after violent sauna. Zuma ANC jovial ahead of hashtag no confidence vote. Jovial Zuma hits back at the opposition. DA EFF not impressed by jovial Jacob Zuma. I mean, jovial, by the way, means happy, joyous, basically this. I mean, look how happy it was in that video. Nothing like when Cyril got elected. The interesting thing is that this might just be foreshadowing for Jacob Zuma's future because the NPA just decided to prosecute Zuma on 16 counts of corruption, racketeering, and money laundering. 16 out of 723, not so bad, you know. If we're not doing maths. But hey, we gotta be happy for it again. This is the face of a man who knows his destruction is pending. Speaking about destruction, the EFF, they started the year off with a banger and a crasher and a grabber and a zoomer and a... The EFF, back at it again with the rough riots. They are not called the economic freedom fighters for nothing. This is how they started it. This happened at Sandton and other H&M stores. After H&M, quite frankly, f***ed up. H&M put a hoodie saying, coolest monkey in the jungle, on a little black boy. And the extra thing, like, cause that wasn't bad enough by itself, they put a white boy in a hoodie that said survival expert. So that didn't go down well. Now look, we know H&M f***ed up.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
I had originally written a segment for this whole thing when I was supposed to actually film this episode in January, but that just never happened. And since then, It's been talked about and debated about and ranted about in Facebook comments, and people have had interviews and statements have been released, and it's basically just been communicated about to death. So I don't really feel like going into it. But don't go away. Don't worry. The Sometimes Weekly show still has your Sometimes Weekly portion of racial tension. Yeah. Because what would the world be without a little racial tension? Happy. That's what we'd be. We'd be happy. At NMU, the newly branded Nelson Mandela University, the SRC led a field invasion during a Varsity Cup rugby match between them and Stellenbosch over transformation in the university. Things got a little bit crazy. Now, NMU is a pretty mixed school, but that rugby field was about as white as short shorts and blackies on a rainy day. Now, because majority of both teams were white, the players were just absolutely gobsmacked at the reality of field invasions. Evidently, they never thought that they'd be on the other side of their forefathers' mentalities. More about land. It seems like parts of the international community think that we here in South Africa have a genocide on our hands. Now, I've read about the farmers. I've spoken about them before, and I think they're absolutely barbaric, and it's not something that should be happening. But we do not have a genocide on our hands. No official international organization has actually warned that we have a genocide on our hands now, or that we have one pending. And this includes the United Nations Office for Genocide Prevention and the Responsibility to Protect and Atrocity Forecasting Project. The fact that we have no official international agency saying, yo, there's genocide down there, makes it especially shitty when Peter Dutton, Australian Home Affairs Minister, comes out and says to the Daily Telegraph, white South African farmers deserve special attention because of the horrific circumstances. She's talking about the violent land invasions that have been going on. Because from what I have seen, they do need help from a civilized country like ours. Dutton says this conveniently forgetting what happened to all of Australia's black people. His sentiment is purely racist. I am concerned that the level of legal migration is in excess of capacities of our cities to absorb, both culturally or in terms of infrastructure. So on one side he's saying he wants to let Afrikaans white farmers through to Australia real quickly, gotta speed up the visas, and on the other side he's saying no, we don't want any more of you. Okay? And you know what he said? He said our cities don't have the capacity to take on any more. Culturally. He means black people. He means he don't want no brown people, he don't want no melanin, anything. He wants a bleached ass country. He's basically saying he just doesn't want anyone who's not Caucasian. Hidden in there. Now this whole thing, debacle, whatever, panic, came after Parliament signed the deal to go ahead with land expropriation without compensation. You see, the thing is, they're sort of looking at the situation as if we live in like this perfectly balanced time where everything was always okay and nobody ever enslaved anybody, and we've all always had equal access to opportunities today, yesterday, 100 years ago, and we would in 100 years. But no. That's just not the case. This motion that Parliament passed is not some document that allows black people to go around kicking white people out of their houses and off of their land. That's just not what it is. This is redress. We're just trying to balance things out, you know? Okay? 9% of the population owns 73% 1% of the land. That is not okay. And that's all this is about. And the other thing is that people don't really understand that it's not like this thing is signed and now white people are losing their land today. It's a case of this thing is signed, and for the next 6 months until August, nothing is happening but assessing how this is gonna change the economy, assessing the fairest way to do it, assessing what government-owned land is going to be given away, assessing what government-run enterprises land is going to be given away, assessing what land is running fallow and not being used. These are the words from our president himself. Conduct public hearings, ordinary South Africans, policymakers, civil society organizations, and academics about the necessity of and mechanisms of expropriating land without compensation. We cannot allow a situation where we allow land grabs. That would be anarchy. We will not allow land grabs. We will not allow land invasions. It violates the rights of other South African citizens. I think I speak for all South Africans. Or at least most of us when I say we are not colonists. We are not Robert Mugabe-led Zimbabwe. We are not English settlers settling on new continents planning to make sport of hunting the rightful owners of land. We are South Africans, united by democracy, public holidays and braais. So I say, take man. To anyone who intends to come here and sow discourse implying that we have the intention of slaughtering each other, it's just not true. One thing is clear though, South Africa, the world is watching you. And they stand with bated breath waiting to see what you will do. And I ask you, South Africa, what's next? What's next? Anyway, that's all from me. I'm Resego LT Tabane. This has been the Sometimes Weekly Show, and God bless South Africa. See you next week. Adios.